What's happening? What's happening? What's happening, Steeler Nation? Oh boy. Do we have a lot to talk about tonight? Let me make sure my levels are correct. Let me see. Yep, there we go, there we go, there we go. Making sure I'm not too loud, not too low. Steeler Nation, what's happening, man? What's happening, baby? Let's do it. Let's get into it. Welcome to the latest episode of Terrible Towel Tuesday. I am your host, SimFBallCritic, live from the Steel Basement. And it's time to get active and get right to it, man. As you guys can see, I'm starting later tonight. Hopefully some of you guys saw my earlier video and knew that it would be at 9 p.m. Eastern time. Had to get started a little bit later. My little man, my son, my 10-year-old son made an AAU basketball team. I'm happy about that, but as luck would have it, his practices are on Tuesday and Thursdays, 7 to 8:30 p.m., which means I cannot start Terrible Towel Tuesday at 8 p.m., but what I probably will do next week, it'll be cool. My wife can take him to practice, but anyway, sorry for not sticking to the normal hour, but we're here now. Let's get at it. Let's get it to it. I'm not going to waste a lot of time, man. I'm going to say hello to a few of you guys, and I got so much to talk about. I'm going to try to fit it all in. We'll take a few phone calls. I will let you know in advance. I might not be able to get to all of the calls. If you want your call heard, if you need your call to must be answered, hey, drop a donation, put your area code attached to it, and I will move you up the line. But let's get right to it, man. Let's say hello to the early commenters. Who we got? JJ Kennedy. He says, words can't explain how thrilled I am with Omar Khan. And I'm going to talk about Omar Khan because some of y'all was ready to turn y'all back on him later in the day. We'll get to it. Big Dro, BQ 412, Nobe 412, Lee Sharp, Cody. Hey, what's up, Cody? I don't think I've seen Cody in a while, man. Good to see you. What's going on, Cody? Zantastic. Who else we got up in here? Ghost Marley, Mark Cunningham, Sonny Rothmiller. Who else? Aaron Morris. Who else we got? My man, Black Thanos in the building. Joshua Shields. Is it Kaja? And Banso. Is it Banso? Manso? I don't know. One of those letters might be silent. Please forgive me for getting the name wrong. Kev So Nice. Who else we got up in here, man? Brent Fox. What up, Brent? Brian Williams. Rajon 39. Faye, a few late nights. Jersey Boy. The Egyptian Queen. Hello, Queen. Hello, Miss Lady. Thank you for coming through. Always got to shout out our lovely ladies of Steeler Nation. Fellas, y'all know the routine, man. Lay out the red carpet for the ladies. Y Diggy. And we might end it right about there. No, Steely McBeaman. What's up, man? Leonard Langley. Pop in the building. What's going on, Leonard? Leonard Green, also the infamous Tim. And two more of our wonderful, lovely, beautiful ladies. Lanisha and Debbie. Hello, ladies. Thank you for coming through. Fellas, don't make me ask you again. Say hello to the ladies. Lay out the red carpet for them. All right, man, listen. Let me pull up my little notes because it's all over the place. I'm telling you right now because I had so much to get into, but it's everywhere. So I'm just going to go. And I'm telling y'all right now, I might not stick to the order of the notes that I have listed. Matter of fact, let me see what I got because I see what's on my screen, but let me see if there's anything I don't have on screen that I might miss, that I don't want to miss. Let me see. We're going to talk about free agency, of course. Kenny Pickett's future, Mason Rudolph, and then the Steelers' free agency moves overall. That's what we're going to get into. So first, let's talk about this. Let me ask you guys, what are some of the bigger surprises in free agency? Not the Pittsburgh Steelers, not the Steelers. Don't give me your Steelers opinion yet. Real quick, what are some of the bigger surprises that you've seen as far as players going to this team and that team outside of the Steelers, around the league? What are some of your biggest surprises? I will say one. It's not a surprise, but I'm not happy to see it. One, Derrick Henry is at the Baltimore Ravens. That one, it could have happened. I assumed that would happen, but, didn't want to see that. Kind of caught me off guard. Here's another one. Boy, let me give a round of applause to whoever this lady or gentleman is. Round of applause goes to Kirk Cousins' agent. Lord have mercy. Lord have mercy. $100 million guaranteed. What's the total contract? 180? I want to remind you guys, and y'all probably remember when I said this when it happened a few years back, some years ago. Kirk Cousins started this wave of guaranteed money in the NFL. Round of applause to him. I'm not going to hit the button again, but round of applause to Kirk Cousins because he started that. Remember when he got that 3-year, $84 million fully guaranteed contract? Well, since that happened, boy, guaranteed money has went through the roof. Shout outs to Kirk Cousins. But who is his agent? Agents, agent firm? Who are they? Have mercy. Coming off an Achilles injury, what's he, 36, 35, 36, somewhere around there? 4-year deal, $100 million guaranteed. Salute. That by far is one of my biggest surprises. What else y'all got? Who else y'all got? Saquon to the Eagles, yeah. Aaron Jones being released, and y'all say he went to the Vikings. Okay, I hadn't seen that, but I was surprised that they released him because Josh Jacobs to the Packers. What else? What else y'all got as a surprise? And we're not going to stay here too long because we got too much to talk about in terms of the Steelers. Christian Wilkins to Vegas, okay. Yeah, clearly Kirk Cousins, man. My goodness. Round of applause to him. Shout outs to his folks, man. Whoever his people are. Yeah, shout outs. All right, man. Let's see. First order of business. Let's see where I want to go first in terms of the Steelers. There's so much to talk about. Obviously, I'll start with the lowest piece of information, which, again, this is not any disrespect. How about, was it Johnston? Is it Cameron Johnston? I think I got his name correct. Sneaky signing by the Pittsburgh Steelers. I mean, this dude can boot it. He got a foot from what I've seen. This dude is a field flipper, so shout outs to the Steelers getting that business done. And I know some people were complaining about the 3-year, $9 million. But guys, this is what I want Steeler Nation to realize. All right, it's a business. All teams have to work within the confines of the business. What I mean is certain positions and players demand a certain amount of money. So even though it might seem like too much to you, in the grand scheme of things, it's not too much. And the Steelers do a masterful job of, constructing these contracts. So, but again, I see too many of you guys in Steeler Nation jumping off of the deep end when y'all see these particular things happen. I don't think that's too much. I mean, that dude is a top-notch punter. I'll take it. Much better than we had with, well, we'll see, but presumably much better than what we had with Presley Harvin. So shout outs to the Steelers for getting that done. Now we get into the big boy stuff. I'm trying to figure out which way I want to go with it, man, because Russell Wilson was the biggest story. But then Patrick Queen came in, and now, wow. So let's talk about the latest story. Let's go right here first. Deontay Johnson. Wow. The Pittsburgh Steelers have traded Deontay Johnson. For those of you that don't know, let me get you the particulars that was reported. Hold on, I'm gonna get it for you. Because my first question was, what was compensation? Yada, yada, yada. And I have it for you. Hold on. Let me find it. It is. Looks like it will be. The Carolina Panthers will get Deontay Johnson and pick number 240, which I believe is in the 7th round, right? The Pittsburgh Steelers, however, hold on, I lost it. Let me pull it back up. Hold on. Pittsburgh Steelers will be receiving pick number 178, which I believe is in the 6th round. But also, the Steelers will receive Deontay Johnson, cornerback from the Carolina Panthers. Now, here's the thing that's interesting to me. I'm going to address you guys and Steeler Nation really quick. Then I'll tell you how I feel about the trade. Steeler Nation, can we stop being so finicky? Can we stop living in the moment? Let me explain to you what I'm talking about. People were through the roof with the Patrick Queen news, which we'll talk about in a moment. Oh, man. Oh, everybody is praising Omar Khan. Oh, he's the best in the business. You see what I'm calling him? What we all have called him, but you see what the title says. He's the biggest con artist in the game. Oh, y'all praising him. People bowing at his feet. Then the news comes out about Deontay Johnson and y'all killed him. Trust me, the same people, because I was watching, killed him. Just flew off the deep end. Whether you like the trade or not, I seen people saying he's trash. I'm not gonna say it. He effed us with the trade. That's what y'all was saying. We are screwed. We got fleeced. Hold on, time out. Gotta interrupt myself. Donation, my good brother Tony. Round of applause for the donation. Thank you, brother. Tony says, shout out to Omar Khan, the Khan man, actually. He says, it's going to be real chippy in the North this year. Absolutely. But yeah, getting back to Omar Khan. Oh, y'all was calling this dude every name in the book with the Deontay trade. I don't understand how we just wear flip-flops all year round, don't we? Flip-flop. We just flipping and flopping. In one breath, he's the best you've ever seen. In the next breath, you questioning everything he does. And here's the funny thing. So some of you guys were making a beef about the cap space or the cap hit that Deontay Johnson is going to incur, with him coming over. But if you really pay attention, it's basically a wash. Because Deontay Johnson's cap was around 10 million or a little bit above that. Jackson's is right around 10 million as well. And shout outs to Steelers Depot. Dave Bryant already posted it. It's going to be about 544,000 is the difference. And they're probably expecting the Steelers to rework his roster bonus that he's going to be due here soon. But that's what I'm saying. A lot of times we give these opinions and we fly off the deep handle without even knowing the details. So we got to stop with that. Now, as far as how I feel about the trade, some of y'all are delighted. Some of y'all hate it. I will say this. I'm going to trust the process of Omar Khan, but I will say from a roster standpoint as it sits today, I'm not talking about the rest of free agency. I'm not talking about draft. I'm talking about today, March 12th. This is a tough one. You would assume that the Jackson kid is going to be the starter alongside Joey Porter Jr. I think he's 28-ish, right around there. What hurts me the most about the trade is, unlike some of you guys who hate Deontay Johnson, I still will continue to say Deontay Johnson was the best overall receiver on our team. Why do I say that? One word, well, two words, route running. There's nobody on the Steelers roster currently, and I'm including all the receivers who were there last year. Nobody on that roster that runs routes the way Deontay Johnson does. None of them. None. Nobody on the Steelers roster creates separation the way Deontay Johnson does. None. His footwork. Nobody on the Steelers roster has that type of footwork. Deontay Johnson, from a skill standpoint, was tops in the NFL. Some of you guys complained about his drops a year or so ago because he didn't really have many drops this past season. Some people question his effort this past season. Some people question his leadership. So you guys shouldn't be upset. And I'm not upset either. I am not upset at all. You know why? Because I've said this before, but I'll say it in a cuter term. I'm married to the team. I date the players. Get it? I'm married to the team. I just date the players. Dates come and go. So I'm not upset at all. But I am looking like this, eyes wide open. What we doing next? Because, yeah, we need receivers now. And who's going to be the certified, the bona fide, surefire ex-receiver? Some of y'all are going to say George Pickens. But, like I said, George Pickens is not the route runner that Deontay Johnson is. He's not that pure ex-receiver that could beat guys off the line, create separation. He ain't that. But George Pickens is a freak of nature, a combat catcher, a big body with speed, can make a guy miss an open field. That one miss and he's out of there. One of the most pure catchers I've seen just with the hands and how he contorts his body. He makes those catches look easy. So here's the question. In the Arthur Smith offense, and a lot of his success came with these big play receivers like A.J. Brown. A.J. Brown is similar to a George Pickens in terms of how you use him. So the question will be, is Arthur Smith's offense, not defense, is Arthur Smith's offense still going to be that type of offense where you're looking for the big body, one-on-one combat catching receiver in most cases? Because, again, he wants to run the football and heavy play action. What happens a lot of times when you're running play action? You get those one-on-one, the one-on-ones out on the outside. You get that one-on-one matchup because you've made the safeties and everything have to creep up, and now they got to play one-on-one. So is that what Arthur Smith is banking on with the personnel? These are things we have to wait and see. Because like I said, in my opinion, currently there is not an ex-receiver like Deontay Johnson on the Steelers roster. Will there be one by the end of free agency? Will there be one in the draft? So that's all I'm waiting to see. But hey, I'm going to miss Deontay Johnson. I'll give him a salute. But business is business, man. It is what it is. And I know some people out there, oh, that's all they got. They should have been able to get more. Well, let me tell you something. It appears that the Steelers were more interested in player for player. So that right there is going to reduce the draft compensation. So I understand you could be upset about them not getting more for Deontay Johnson, but when you look at what they did trade for, clearly it was a player for player situation, and they deemed that to be more important. You don't have to agree with it, but I'm just saying what it is. So now seeing that happen, I'm not so, upset by it or shocked by it because, okay, y'all went that route. Now, as far as Deontay Jackson, I don't know how good he is or isn't. I don't know. I'm not familiar. I'm familiar with the name, but I'm not familiar with the play. I don't watch a lot of Carolina games. So some of you guys can tell me that, but also I'm going to do my due diligence and go look at some film, and there you have it. But that's all how I feel about the trade, man. It is what it is. A lot of you guys have been asking for it. You got it. So there you have it. We'll miss him. So let's take a look at the next topic in order. Let's see. Before I get into the Russell Wilson, well, I guess I'll incorporate all this together. So first question I have. What else are the Steelers going to do at quarterback? it's almost a sure thing that Mason Rudolph is not going to sign now, correct? Would y'all agree? If that's the case, that leaves 2 quarterbacks on the Steelers roster. 2. So it's going to be interesting to see what they do. Do they draft a quarterback late to prevent having to pay a little more for UDFA? Do they go the UDFA route? Are they looking to sign another veteran for the cheap? We shall see. It's going to be interesting to see what happens with Mason Rudolph, man. Supposedly, reports are saying there's other teams interested in him being the number 2. Yikes, man. Mason Rudolph can't catch a break, can he? That boy can't catch a break. So it's going to be interesting to see what Mason Rudolph does, man. Does he find himself back at Pittsburgh? Me personally, Mr. Rudolph, I wouldn't do that. Because clearly there's 1 and 2. You're not going to be a part of that mix. This ain't the same as having Trubisky there. This is a little different. If Russell Wilson is the starter, then clearly number 2 is going to be Kenny Pickett because the Steelers are still invested in him for the most part. I'm going to use quote fingers, but I'll talk about that in a sec. So if I was Mason Rudolph, I do not sign with the Pittsburgh Steelers because the Steelers, honestly, they haven't given you that full bolt of confidence. They haven't given you that full, that push or that warm and fuzzy feeling that they're confident in you because they went out and got a real veteran, right? A real veteran who's probably going to start. So what is that saying about you? That means those 4 games you played, thank you, we appreciate it. But that ain't the direction we going in. That's what they're saying to you, Mason Rudolph. So if I was you, I would hit a skedaddle real quick. But I'm curious to know what the market is for the kid. So salutes to Mason Rudolph, man. I wish you well. All right, let's move on to the next topic. While we're at it, let's continue to talk about Russell Wilson and the effect that it will have on Kenny Pickett. So I've already said this, but I'm going to say it again. I'm kind of torn in my feelings now in terms of what it does for Kenny Pickett, because I do see that there's an avenue to where Russell Wilson could be competing. Honestly, I think that they didn't bring Russell Wilson in to sit the bench. I don't believe that. I believe that Russell Wilson would have came into the meeting and the conversation with, listen, I want to be the guy. I have the name, I have the pedigree, I got a championship under my belt. I'm not trying to come here to hold a clipboard, even though you're only paying me 1.2. Yeah, but he's still collecting 38 from the Broncos. I don't feel like Russell Wilson comes in to do that. However, if it is a real competition and Kenny Pickett wins out, it's a win-win situation for the Steelers, right? Because I want to explain this part. A lot of people ask me, how did I feel about them signing Russell Wilson? To me, it's a no-brainer, and I'm going to explain to you why. Number 1, it's pedigree. Number 2, Russell Wilson had a solid season last year. The Denver Broncos weren't that great. They were starting to make a little push, keeping themselves in the hunt later in the season. The Broncos decided that they weren't going to move on with Russell Wilson. Maybe they decided the contract was too large. And yes, I understand people what you're going to say, man, they willing to take $85 million dead money to get rid of him. Okay, if you want to make that argument, but can you argue against his performance last season? See, we got to be careful when we're trying to use anything we can to go against something, right? I'm not telling y'all to like or love or hate Russell Wilson. I'm just saying what the narratives was that I was seeing out here in the social media world. People were really dogging Russell Wilson, saying Broncos didn't even want him. He's trash. Well, okay, go look at the season from last year. 26 touchdowns, 8 interceptions, a touch over 3,000 yards. Is that world beating? Maybe not when you compare it to some others. However, can I remind y'all that the Pittsburgh Steelers has thrown less touchdowns than Russell Wilson did last season in the last 2 seasons? That was a very interesting stat. Every time I see those stats, it makes me cringe. Like when you hear about Kenny Pickett's 13 interceptions and 13 touchdowns, it's like, ooh. Even though we know there were times where he was injured, yada, 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 even though we know there was times that it was the rookie woes early, it still sounds cringy. And so does the Pittsburgh Steelers throwing less touchdowns in 2 seasons with all quarterbacks than Russell Wilson did in his last season, which by many will say he sucked last year. You get that type of production, it automatically boosts this current team. But you know what else it does? This was a super smart business decision. $1.2 million. It's peanuts. And they're not locked in long term. I want everybody to pay attention to that. They are not locked in long term to Wilson or Pickett. That means something to me. There's no long-term commitment to either one of them. Because if Russell Wilson doesn't do that great this year, well, he's gone after one. And guess what? You have Kenny Pickett still, but then now you can go into the draft if you want and go find the next guy. Either way they go with it, they're not locked in. If they start Kenny Pickett has this one season to prove that he's worthy, the 5th-year option, right? And then worst case scenario, you would have Kenny Pickett at that point for 2 additional seasons. And you still evaluate him on whether or not you give him a second contract. You see what I'm saying? I don't think the Steelers could have done anything else better than what they did outside of saying that they're going to go for the gusto this draft and try to get one of those, one of the dudes who are the next big prospect. The Jaden Daniels and the Caleb Williams and these other kids. I don't know their all. Can't recall all their names now, but y'all know who I'm talking about. These other dudes who are projected to be the top tier quarterbacks. But if you're asking the Steelers to do that, you know what else you're asking them to do? Give up draft capital, which they cannot afford. Remember, the Steelers still have huge holes in this team. Center, anybody? Safety, anybody? Cornerback still. Even though they got the Deontay kid, he's not a spring chicken. We still got questions at the slot, the nickel, and inside linebacker, which I'm going to get to that. Oh, we got a doozy, but we still need more. And not to mention, some of you guys also would agree, need to take a little peek at the right tackle. You see what I'm saying, guys? When you look at it from a business standpoint, you can hate or love the Russell Wilson idea, but it makes sense. Because the Steelers, to me, they're not locked in long-term to anybody. And if they are forced, their hand is forced to lock down somebody, then that means that guy is playing exceptionally well. And I will take that. To get a Russell Wilson caliber guy at 1.2, not to mention, what is Russell Wilson good at? Play action and the deep ball. Arthur Smith, play action. I'm just saying it makes all the sense in the world. I know some of you guys are going to say they should have traded for Justin Fields, but can I ask y'all this question? How does Justin Fields, how does his market look right now? Given the fact that these other quarterbacks, the Baker Mayfields of the world. Oh, shout outs to Baker. Yeah. Baker Mayfield, you know, he was once thrown in the trash by the Cleveland Browns and others. And look at him. Had a decent season. We'll see what he does next. But you know what's funny? When if the Steelers move on from Kenny Pickett, he might end up having a story like Baker. 6 years or so from now, we'll be looking at Kenny Pickett signing a $150 million deal and has played well in a playoff game and got himself signed to a big contract. And all I'm saying by that, guys, is sometimes it don't happen right away. Sometimes it takes guys longer than others. But we are impatient as Steelers fans. And you know who's to blame for that? No real blame to him, but it's Ben Roethlisberger. It's Ben Roethlisberger. For 18 years, you had the beautiful luxury of not having to find a quarterback. And shout outs to my man, Alex Kazor. Shout outs to Alex. Because Alex said it on their podcast. He said, you know what? I'll be honest, partly is because of I grew up mostly only watching Ben. And that's part of the reason for my anxiousness. You know, I'm so anxious to go get this guy. I get it. I'm not saying anybody's wrong by thinking that way. I get it. But just like he realized it, you guys have to realize it. The Steelers are going through what we see most teams go through. They trying to find a QB, man, and Pickett didn't work. And hold on, pause, interrupt myself. Shout outs to Steeler Lee. Round of applause for the donation. That's good. He says we have to let go and let Khan. That is hilarious. But yeah, that's what it is, folks. Listen, again, I am not standing here endorsing Russell. I'm not standing here endorsing the decision. I'm just saying, if you strip the fanism away, you will understand it. Makes perfect sense what they did. Because remember, they still want to give Kenny some type of chance, even though I don't think it's going to be a real competition. But if it is, and he ends up balling out, it's a win. But I do think Russell Wilson takes the snaps to start the season. And listen, man, Russell Wilson still got something in the tank. I'm cool with it. I'm cool with it. Because I just don't see what the other alternative was this season outside of trying to trade up and get one of the top tier prospects this year. I didn't see that happening. But yeah, that's all I got on that, man. I'm gonna root for Russell Wilson. And let me just say this. I see y'all calling that man all kinds of names and stuff. Listen, I don't care what these dudes do in their personal lives. Because can I tell y'all a secret? And I hate to say this about another man. At least the way he's been acting lately, Antonio Brown is a clown. I don't know him personally, but the way he's conducting himself, and he has been conducting himself the last few years, clown, bruh. Goofy. A goofy. But when he was playing on the Pittsburgh Steelers, there was nobody else I'd rather see catching footballs. Do you follow what I'm saying? I don't care what these dudes are and do and who they are in their personal lives. I don't care as long as it does not affect the locker room. Now, if for whatever reason, Russell Wilson's personality doesn't jive, then I'll have more to say. But I don't care what y'all think about that man and what y'all be calling him and all of that. It ain't got nothing to do with how he throw the football. I'm just saying. I'm just saying, man. But all right, I'm off for that. But that's how I feel about that, man. And last but not least, before I get to the phone calls, I got to take a sip of water on this one. This is too hot to handle, too cold to hold. Omar Khan, sir, if for any reason you see this video You, my friend, the Pittsburgh Steelers will be signing former Baltimore Raven Patrick Queen as their next stud inside linebacker. Holy moly. Did not see that type of splash coming. Let me tell y'all something. This is major. Major. Why he didn't re-sign with the Ravens? Well, Ravens spent some money already. And from what I heard, I didn't really know this, but what I heard is the Ravens weren't too sure about him after season 3, which is the reason why they didn't extend his 5th-year option. Thank you. We appreciate it. Because last year in that contract year, the boy went crazy. Balling. Oh, I recall him picking us off. Trubisky threw it right to him. I'm ecstatic by this, bro. Listen, let me tell y'all. Just watching the film, I watched a little bit of it today, but I'm really going to dive in because I don't want to do anything just off of name recognition and all of that. I'm going to go watch some Denver games from this season. I'm really going to evaluate these guys. But from what I recall from Patrick Queen, sideline to sideline, can cover a dog. Like, he plays with that aggression. But y'all know that. He came from the Ravens. And again, you know, you can hate him. Y'all can call them ratbirds and all that stuff. But I respect the Ravens because it's like looking in the mirror. They that gritty, you know, that low down, gritty, grind them out. The Steelers and the Ravens is the reason why the North is what the North is. The rest of them had to try to play like us. Cincinnati had to try to build themselves to be rough and tough like us. Cleveland, I don't really consider them rough and tough, but hard-nosed team. No disrespect, but I'm saying the North is what it is because of the Steelers and the Ravens. So you got to respect them even though you hate them as opponents. He comes from that and comes right to the Steeler Nation. He's going to fit right in. A dog, and a young dog at that. I had it wrong earlier in my video. He ain't even 25 yet. The boy is 24. He turns 25 in August. Masterful signing by the Steelers. I have nothing but applause for Omar Khan. Last question. And then I'm going to the phones. I wish I had the opportunity to ask questions to the organization and get real answers. I know this is all, you know, imaginary. It's not real. But what I would love to know, does the general manager make that much difference at the Pittsburgh Steelers? Why am I asking that question? We all know how Colbert got down. In Colbert we trust. I love Kevin Colbert for what Kevin Colbert did for the Steelers. Super Bowls under his belt and the whole 9. But this is a new day. This is a new day. We saw it as soon as Omar Khan took over. Because remember, Omar Khan took over after the draft. We saw it in how they moved in the offseason. We seeing it how they moving now. We're seeing stuff being done that we've never seen from the Pittsburgh Steelers. They said that the Patrick Queen sign is the most expensive free agent the Steelers have ever signed. I can't wait to see what they do in the draft. But here's my question. Is it literally the GM mentality? Or is the Steelers organization starting to break out of their ways? That is a very valid question. We didn't see this with Kevin Colbert. Even though Omar Khan was on the staff. He was the numbers guy. So how is it that a guy that's been there, done that, in some capacity, a part of the whole team, how could he automatically come with a brand new philosophy? So my question is it being allowed by the organization, or was it the whole time the GM running it the way they wanted to, and they had the latitude to do what they wanted. Now, I know some of y'all are going to answer that, and y'all going to say this is for sure. None of us know. Unless we have heard Mike Tomlin say it, not even Tomlin. Unless we hear Art Rooney confirm it, none of us know. But that would be my question. That would be my question. Because it sure looks like this new GM and Omar Khan has come in and we throwing that out. We doing this now. And if that's the case, man, if Omar Khan mess around and get a Super Bowl, at any point, we'll remember this. We'll remember this era. Even if he only get one, we'll remember this era because this will be coined as the era that changed the Steeler away. Just a question I want to know, man. That's all. Let's get to these phone calls, man, because I'm dying to hear what y'all have to say. I've talked a lot, talked enough. We got quite a few calls in the queue. All I'm going to ask you guys to do, y'all already know, keep them quick. Keep them quick because I'm going to get back into savage mode. I try not to be savage because I love y'all. But if y'all going too long, I'm going to just have to mute you and get to the next one. So make your point quick, precise, and I'll do my best to be quick and precise with my reply. So first and foremost, the first caller in the queue right now, we have area code 313. What you got for us?
Hey, what's going on, Sim? I was just calling just to let you know with the Deontay Johnson situation. I heard on a report earlier today the reason why he was traded during last season. They said he was the player that was the one that being disgruntled. He was the one that was starting to, complain about when he didn't get the ball and these things, and it was also causing George to react. They said even when they was in the receiver room, some of the defensive players was coming in there trying to talk to him because he was getting pissed off at the poor quarterback play. So then it got out, the rumor was that he was like, well, if y'all don't want me, y'all can trade me. Remember Tomlin gave that thing about Le'Veon. We're not in the holding hostage. And see, Deontay wasn't there when AB was there. And when that stuff happened with AB, Tomlin like, we're not going down this same road. Okay, we're going to oblige you. That's why they didn't even care about getting a top pick for him. They just want to get a serviceable corner, and I looked up at my man. He played at LSU, the corner that they got. He ran a 4.32 at the combine. He's fast. He's a legit, can play inside, outside. So when you watch him, you will see him. But that's what I was saying why they went on and made this move. And then at the combine, Chris Carter announced and saying that Pittsburgh talked to like 5 receivers. They was already ready to move on. That's why they loading up in the spots in free agency to get those spots so they can get one of them top 4 or 5 receivers in the draft. That's what's going on. So we will get a replacement for him because Pittsburgh is known for doing what? Drafting receivers. That's all I got for you, buddy. Y'all have a blessed one. Once again, have a good one. All right. Peace out.
Man, thanks for that call. And you know what? You could very well be correct on that, man, because, again, we saw that. We definitely saw disruptive behavior. We saw it out of GP, and then we saw Deontay Johnson kind of leaning into that, not really showing his veteran leadership. We saw the play where he kind of quit on the play, on the fumble. We saw all that. So this could very well be true. And if that's the case, y'all know, you can't really be mad at it because the Steelers will move on from you when they have to. Some would say they were late doing it with AB, but if that's the case, like I said, man, I am married to the team and I date the players. Next. And that's just how I feel about it. So we'll see what they do in the draft. I don't even think they got to go up to get one of the top guys, man. The wide receiver group is super deep, but let's keep our eyes glued, man. See what happens. Next up, area code 214. What you got for us?
Hey, Sam, this is Brent Park calling you from Dallas, Texas, man.
You hear me?
Yes, sir. I got you.
I'm sorry. Can you hear me now?
Yeah, I can hear you. I can hear you the whole time.
Oh, I'm sorry, Sim. Okay. Well, lots to cover, little time, so I'll just try to hit bullet points here. I am actually surprised about the Deontay Johnson trade. The first caller kind of clarified what was going on with that situation, so maybe not so much now. I am, of course, thrilled about the Patrick Queen acquisition. I am a little worried about center, though. I think that is definitely an area of need that we have to address, either via the draft. I don't think that there are very many quality free agents, that are left to try to pick up at center. Hopefully we may be able to just kind of double dip, pick up a center from maybe a mid-grade center for maybe free agency, and then pick one up in the draft. I also would like for us to try to pick up a tackle as well to kind of help solidify the line. And then maybe just add a depth piece to the defensive line to try to help out the linebackers. And I do think that the acquisition from the trade from Carolina will probably help make a difference. But yeah, I'm kind of conflicted about Deontay Johnson. Kind of getting back to it, he was our best route runner, and you just don't find that quality of a route runner very often. So, hopefully we do what we do and find a good receiver in a draft, pick him up, and then develop him. That's all I got, Sim. Thanks for your time.
Man, Brent, I appreciate the call like always, man, and great points there. Like I said earlier in the show, I don't know if you were here earlier. Yeah, you was here in the beginning. I'm a little iffy with it too, man, in theory, because of the route running ability. But like I said, maybe the Arthur Smith offense doesn't necessarily require that type of receiver. It's possible. And I know some of y'all are going to say, what do you mean? That's crazy. But again, if you're talking about an offense that's heavy run, heavy play action, you don't necessarily need the most skilled guy with route running, because typically what you're aiming to do with, killer run game and play action, you're looking to get one-on-ones, deep shots down the field, or even across the middle, which is something that I didn't really notice, that they said Russell Wilson didn't do a lot of throwing across the middle. So that's intriguing. So we got to watch and see how that unfolds. But again, you're normally looking for these matchups, so you might not need the crafty route runner. You need that guy, that big boy that can go get that thing like George Pickens or whoever else they bring in. So in theory, I'm going to miss it because he is absolutely the best route runner. So I'm sure there's going to be times we're in the shotgun and, it's one-on-one and you got to get a guy to beat, this guy off the line. We don't necessarily have that guy yet. We don't necessarily have this separation creator that a Deontay Johnson was. But at the same time, guys, I love the way Brent explained that. He's just not as happy about it, but he didn't bash Omar Khan. That's the only thing I don't understand about what we're doing out here. I'm seeing it. You go look at it right now. There's people who are bashing that, saying that was the worst, blah, 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 blah. And I'm like, dude, y'all doing that a few hours after he signed Patrick Queen. Like, we're not going to agree with everything. We just got to rock with it. We got to roll with the punches and see, how much them punches land. Next in the queue, man, we got area code 651. What you got for us?
What's up with you, Sam?
What's going on, brother?
Not much, man. I'm like you, man. I feel conflicted about Deontay leaving, but I kind of knew it was coming with the contract situation coming up. We got so many people to pay. He's 29, even with the disgruntled stuff that was going on. I think the thing that hurt us is we didn't trade him earlier, and I think that's why we got the return that we got, which could be good or bad. But Dante, he was a pretty good corner a few years ago. I don't know. I hadn't watched a lot of him lately, but he was a pretty aggressive guy a few years ago. He was pretty good. So I'm hoping that works out. And then having Russell, having a competent quarterback under center, like I can understand how the players feel when you walk in the stadium and know, oh, we got Russ. He's going to handle business instead of walking in with Kenny and Mason. But Mason turned up later. But, and I think another reason that Deontay is gone is people forget about Calvin Austin, man. He made some plays when Mason came in, even though Mason missed them on a few. But he made some plays, and one thing Pat T said that he was so quick off the line, he can become that same thing that Deontay was or better. But also, with so many quality receivers in the combine, once everybody saw those performances, we wasn't getting much for Deontay after that. I knew that was coming, so I was hoping they did it a little earlier if they decided to. But, yeah, man, one more last thing. We look a lot like Seattle receivers-wise. When you look at it, he had a big guy. He had a really quick guy like Tyler Lockett. Russ did really good in that offense. So, we'll see what happens. All right, that's all I got.
Man, excellent points. I really forgot. I didn't forget about Calvin Austin, but I did forget this aspect of his game. Reminder, Calvin Austin played an ex-receiver in college. I think he moved around, but Kenyon, correct me if I'm wrong, Calvin Austin was an X. Not saying that he's going to be the X in the NFL, but I'm saying Calvin Austin was a guy who played well off the line. Now, how much separation he quote-unquote created, I don't really recall because he was so fast. Speed is going to always create separation, but this dude was the number one guy in college, even at his size. So what my man is saying there, it could be correct. Calvin Austin might be able to fill some of that void. So we'll see. We'll see. I mean, because it's not like Calvin Austin, it's not like the dude was a scrub. Sometimes it's opportunity and how you're utilized. So, yeah, we'll see what Austin might be able to turn into, man. But other than that, I definitely think the Steelers are going to probably draft a receiver. I did forget. I just saw there in the chat, Calvin Ridley is still out there. We'll see what happens, man, as far as who they possibly bring in. Real quick side note, because my man, shout outs to C. Antoine Ill, always in here talking about basketball. Because I'm a Sixers fan as well. But I'll say this to you, Antoine. Whatever losses the Sixers are going to go through right now, it's expected. Joel Embiid ain't playing. It's just that simple. It sucks to lose to the Knicks again, but, brother, I'm just saying, they just need to limp their way into the playoffs with Joel, and we'll see what happens. Other than that, I don't expect nothing from my Sixers. Just saying. All right, man, let's get back to the football action. Next in the queue, area code 302. What you got for us?
Hey, Sam, I just wanted to ask you, since the Steelers signed Russ to a one-year contract, do you think that was because we wanted to sign him on that veteran minimum? Or do you think the Steelers did want to sign him on more of a 2 or 3 year deal? Because I do remember hearing Russ say that he wanted to win, a few Super Bowls in the next 5 years, which made me think that he wanted a multi-year deal. I just want to know your thoughts on that. Thank you, though.
Man, excellent question. Excellent question, bro. Let me put on my thinking cap for a second. Let me adjust it, get it real tight. I do think that they did the 1 year deal for the minimum, knowing that they could leverage the come play for us. Like they always say, Tomlin put on his charm. Come play for us. We got this, and this. Hey, you're getting $38 million from those guys. This is the reason why we're going to do it 1 year. I think the Steelers were straight up with him. But also, thanks for saying that because you just reminded me. That's more reason why I think Russell Wilson probably is coming in as the starter. Because what's the incentive? If Russell Wilson wants a multi-year deal, right? What's the incentive to come play for Pittsburgh if Pittsburgh is telling you, listen, our intentions is to start Kenny Pickett? Because the report came out that Russell Wilson at least wanted the opportunity to compete. So what is the real incentive to just do the 1 year deal? The luxury of signing for whatever amount you want because you're getting the bag from Denver. So great question, man. And I think that further solidifies that he's probably going to be QB1 week 1. We'll see. All right, next up, area code 318. What you got for us?
Well, what's up, Bob?
Yes, sir.
Can you hear me?
Yeah, I got you.
Okay, yeah, it's like a delay. But no, yeah, Omar Khan, man, he making money moves, man. I remember last big free agent we had, man, I think it was Joe Hayden, bro. But yeah, I'm liking this. All we need, really, I feel like, yeah, invest in the O-line, get like a solid safety piece, and man, I can head my head held high this year going to week 1. Hopefully not like last year, because man, they fooled me. I thought we was gonna at least, look better than that. But Omar Khan looked like, yeah, he's trying to change the culture a little bit. Hopefully, all these signings will work out. But I'm just happy, we fixed that middle linebacker problem somewhat. But excuse me, I feel like our pieces, if Holcomb and Orlando Roberts, I feel like that's a good rotational piece if they stay. But other than that, that's all I got. Have a good night.
Man, thanks for the call. And somebody correct me out there too, man, because my man just said it. Is it Landon Roberts, was he a 1 year or 2 year? Can't remember. I know Cole Holcomb is multiple years, so I'm sure they're hoping he's going to get back. Apparently his knee injury was a little more critical than most people thought. But I can't remember if Landon is, he's 2 year. Okay. All right. So if Roberts is 2 year, so Quan Alexander was the 1 year. One of those guys was 1. So yeah, good point, man. If we don't have to get him back if he's already on a 2 year contract. So yeah, we come back into this thing with Roberts, Holcomb, and Queen. Yo, let me tell you something. Last year, we were kind of pleasantly surprised that the 3-man rotation kind of worked out, right? Kind of worked out. But now you plug one of those 3 guys with Patrick Queen. No disrespect to the first 3, but we come into the season with Quan Alexander, Cole Holcomb, and Landon Roberts. This year, we removed Quan Alexander and we put in Patrick Queen along with Cole Holcomb and the Landon Roberts that we saw play the last 4 or 5 games where he had to kind of be the man, even the gutsy Landon Roberts when he was injured. Dude out there, I think, what was it, a groin or a pec or something, and he out there playing. Woo, buddy. That's all I could say. Oh, yeah, and I forgot about that Moon guy from Baltimore that we signed to like a future contract or something like that, but I think he's an edge. Yeah, man. Yeah, this could get interesting. All right, man, I got time for the last 2. You guys are doing great on the pace of the calls, man. Keeping them quick. Appreciate that. Next up is area code 412. What you got for us?
What's up, brother?
What's going on, man?
Just chilling. Yeah, y'all hit on a lot of points. I'm sad about the Deontay, but like we breed receivers, so I ain't even tripping. Like y'all said, Calvin Ridley's out there. You got Tyler Boyd out there, Marquise Brown. Shoot, you might even want to try to trade for IU. You know what I mean? But other than that, like y'all said, Patrick Queen, great. Russell Wilson, I was smiling ear to ear because now GP got a quarterback to throw to. And shore up this D, and we're going to be back.
Absolutely, man. I mean, on paper, right? Well, of course, we don't know which other receivers we're going to have, but on paper, you're upgrading the quarterback position, you would assume. As well, you shore up the defense, man. You've upgraded the middle of the defense, you would assume, with Patrick Queen. The Steelers could compete, man. I don't think there was a real issue of actual talent last year at the skill positions, Quarterback play was up and down, so you would think if Russell Wilson comes in, he's going to be steady Eddie. And if the defense can just play the way that they're capable of playing, lock down the run a little bit better, improve on that this year, on paper, the Steelers could have an opportunity to do something. You know, obviously the first goal of business is to at least win a playoff game. So we'll see, man. Way too early to make predictions, but I'm with you, man. Can't disagree with anything you said there. All right. Actually, I will take 2 more calls because I got to get Mr. Winningham on. So 2 more calls, guys, and then we'll be done. Area code 216, what you got for us?
Yeah, hey, what's going on, man? This is my first time calling you.
Oh, thank you, man. Appreciate that.
So, yeah, question for you, man. So a couple points. The first one is, as far as Russell Wilson goes, let's say he comes in, balls out, does his thing. Do you think, if he's still willing to continue to play, that he would consider re-signing with us, which is one thing I had in my mind. And secondly, my second point is, I just wanted to hear your thoughts about Mason Rudolph, if he's planning on coming back or kind of what the story is with him. And I did see that other teams are interested in him, but I was just wondering if you had any takes on that. And that's all I got for you, man. Thanks.
Man, thanks for the call, especially being the first time, man. I really, really, really appreciate that. Hopefully you stick around. We'd love to have you. So thank you. And let me answer your question. I'll start with Mason Rudolph first because I think that one is quick and easy. I think Mason Rudolph is out of here. If I was him, I would go. However, what's his market? Because again, I saw some of the reports as well saying other teams are interested, but supposedly one of the reports says interested in him being their number 2. And it's like, if you're Mason Rudolph, that's kind of a gut punch too. You think you put on a good audition last 4 games of the season and that's the best you can get as a 2. Is it more advantageous for you to stay at Pittsburgh and perhaps become the number 2? So we'll see. But I think if I was him, in the minute they sign Russell Wilson, 2 fingers. I'm out of there. As far as Russell Wilson, I think it does depend on the success of this season. At his stage of his career, if let's say they have a successful season, let's say they win a playoff game, and Russell Wilson is the reason why, at least a big piece of it, I think the Steelers could at least work out a deal with him where, hey, man, let's do a 2 or 3 year extension, something like that. I think that's very possible. Well, not an extension because you would have to do that during the season. They don't really do that, but I could see them offering him a 2 to 3 year deal, perhaps, because that'll be another worthy stopgap if he plays well this season. And why would he leave? Supposedly he has a good relationship with Tomlin, and if everything goes successfully, no real reason to leave unless somebody else offers a bigger bag. Last call of the night, man. Gotta get our one of our favorites, Mr. Winningham, in. I see him come here late, so we definitely gonna take his call. 803, Mr. Winningham, what you got for us? Hello. 803. Mr. Winningham. Hi. Mr. Winningham is unable to hear us, man, so we're going to have to move on. I'm sad about that because I wanted to hear his thoughts. I'm sure he'll be back on next week. But we can go ahead and wrap this thing up a little bit. I'm going to spend a few minutes here with you guys, man. Anything else y'all got in the chat that y'all want me to hit on, we'll spend a few minutes here. See what y'all got. Robert Rowe, is it Rode or Rode? He says Denver is paying Russ a bunch next year as well. Yeah. They are. So that's the thing. Russell Wilson, what a luxury. He can choose where he want to go and really not concern himself with money over the next 2 years. That's crazy. What a luxury. Let's see. Steelers card says Mason is a backup. Maybe 49ers since they lost Darnold. Yeah, that's possible. I could see that. UT Local says Mr. Winningham may have passed out and he's asleep. Well, if he did, I hope, from exhaustion. I hope not anything else. But Mr. Winningham, if you could hear us, we couldn't hear you. Well, you couldn't hear me, or I couldn't hear you. I don't know which one it did, but hopefully we'll be able to get you back on next week. Bishop says, who do you think replaces Deontay Johnson realistically? Man, I realistically don't have an answer. I kind of feel like, and I know this is a lot of speculation, but I kind of feel like it's really going to come down to what Arthur Smith is trying to do with his scheme. Because like I said, kind of the scheme that he's had. Just think about the Tennessee days when they were really successful with Tannehill and Derrick Henry and A.J. Brown. That's kind of was their mantra. They had big receivers that could play that one-on-one ball, 50-50. And they didn't really need the shifty, superb route runner. So I think it comes down to that. If that's kind of what he's trying to do, then GP might be the replacement, realistically. George Pickens, to me, can perform like a number one. Again, perform. Not necessarily have the complete skill of a normal X, route running and such. But I'm saying he could perform as the Steelers' number one. And what I mean by that is this could be a dude that's catching 100 catches a year. Like, he's that talented in terms of just put it close to him. So could he be the A.J. Brown of the 2019 season, 2020 season of the Titans? He absolutely could. Absolutely could. And that's what I would say right now, realistically, because I just don't know if they're going to try to address it in the draft. I don't think there's a bona fide X as the type of Deontay Johnson X receiver in free agency. So they're either going to draft the guy or they're going to make it work with what they have. I see a lot of you guys talking about Ridley. Yeah, let's see what Calvin Ridley's market is. It might not be that high considering so many receivers are coming in the league. So he might end up with the Steelers. We'll see. Who was that? Flacco? Flacco says he's pissed about Deontay. Yeah, I can understand that, man. Again, I was catching a lot of flack when I was saying, y'all remember how much I was saying don't get rid of Deontay? And it's happened. So I'm going to miss, again, the type of receiver he is. He got his production back on track last season, and we all know quarterback play was a big part of that. I'm going to miss it. I am, man, because I think Deontay Johnson is uber talented, bro. I really do. Odessa, hey, Miss Lady, another wonderful lady in the chat. Good to see you. She says, we should look into bringing back James Washington. What is James Washington doing these days? Now, James Washington, I don't know where he would fit. Again, I'm contradicting my statement because I don't know what Arthur Smith's intentions are. But let's just say in the traditional Steeler format, James Washington would typically play the Z, which is where George Pickens is now. So even if James Washington was with us, they would have to figure out where does he play. He's not a slot guy. Would you move Pickens into the slot primarily? But then again, who's your X? But I can understand your theory. Tyler Boyd. I'm not mad about that. I'm not mad about that just as a savvy veteran piece. Not mad about that. Let's see what y'all got. 007 says Washington is a farmer. Yeah, I don't think James Washington is thinking about no football. Juju would be a better fit. Absolutely. Y'all know how much what I feel about Juju. Is Juju a free agent? Is he a free agent? Or is his contract up with who was he with last? The Patriots? Now, in a Arthur Smith assuming how his offense will be, a Juju would fit in there. Absolutely. And people said no on Juju. Well, why? I never understood. I really don't understand the disdain some people have for Juju. Juju was uber productive when he had Antonio Brown. I think a lot of y'all beat Juju up because they tried to force him into being the quote unquote number one, post Antonio Brown. And you that comparison, you never could do that. Juju is one of those guys that can be your solid number two or that slot guy that can eat because your superstar on the outside is getting double teamed. And that's how it works in the NFL. When you have a stud, like a Jamar Chase, yeah, T. Higgins supposed to be eating. That's how it works. But a lot of times people try to fault Juju for that. I never understood that. He ain't no real number one. Yeah, but who said he was? Who said that he was a bona fide number one? Y'all tried to put that on him. You guys tried to put that on him. The number two receiver is supposed to be able to get off when he's getting one-on-ones or favorable matchups in the slot. When there's a stud on the outside, that should be across the league. Oh, you gonna take away my number one? All right, cool. I got this dude that's gonna cook anybody else or big boy them on a one-on-one inside. Y'all ain't gonna tell me that Juju won't getting busy when Antonio Brown was there. But y'all try to hang him not being the one following Antonio Brown after Antonio Brown left. That's crazy, bro. Juju was a monster in the slot with Pittsburgh and Ben Roethlisberger. Y'all can disagree with me if you want. I want y'all to go back and just recall how good Juju was in the slot in Pittsburgh with Ben Roethlisberger. I told y'all, man, we have a problem in Steeler Nation, man, that we be having this amnesia. We be having, I call it not even convenient amnesia. I call it narrative amnesia. That's what we have in Steeler Nation. We will use whatever we have to fit our narrative. I don't do that. I'm sorry. I don't. I hate to talk about myself, but I don't do that. I try to go with the reality. I don't try to bend the narrative to fit what I'm saying. No, but a lot of us in Steeler Nation do that. Yes, Lord Flacco. Juju was the GOAT, man. Juju was eating on third down. Come on, man. He was our possession man. But whatever. Somebody compared him to Claypool? Wow. But all right, man, a few more and I'll get out of here. Yeah, Mark, they got that narrative amnesia, man. Somebody said T. Higgins is still with the Bengals looking for a big bat. Yeah, and that's why I don't think that's gonna work. I mean, I'll take T. Higgins, but that ain't gonna work. Kenya said fair weather dust. All right, man, maybe one or two more. Juju and Chase would probably work with Russ. I'll say no on Chase Claypool, man. Chase Claypool was a big disappointment for me. I don't think that dude was. I hate to say this because I have no way of knowing. It's just my mind and my eye test. I don't think the dude was dedicated, man. I don't, because a guy with that physical size and stature, there's no reason why you keep. This dude kept falling in the depth chart on all the teams that took a chance on him outside of Pittsburgh. He just kept falling. How? Dog, if I was 6'4", let me tell y'all something. And listen, I was, and I hate to talk about myself, but I was a fairly good athlete, bro. I was. If I was 6'4" and ran a sub 4.4, I'm not falling down nobody's depth chart. I could promise you that. Pause. We got a donation. My man Luis coming through with the dub. I appreciate that, man. Thank you very much. Round of applause. He says, hey, my brother and the rest of Steelers family, just got out of work. Crazy day. And I believe the signing that punter out of Houston was good. Yeah, man, it was, Luis. That's the sneaky signing. That dude kicked the skin off the ball. No exaggeration. That dude got a boot on him. So that was a sneaky little signing by the Pittsburgh Steelers as well. So overall, man, I'm happy. I'm overall happy about the moves that was made. Kenya said, I would still cross you up, Sam. Look, man, listen, I want the greatest ball player. You know, now one thing I did have that my little man got, I can shoot that rock though. But I want the basketball dude, man. And you know, I played more like a forward. I was really good at rebounding and blocking, but you know, I didn't get that super duper height. You know, so I had to retire that early. But yeah, I want so much the basketball player. You know, even though me and my boys used to ball every Saturday, I could play, but you never hear me say anything about I would dog somebody. Nah, I'm a spot up shooter. That's about all you're gonna get out of me. But on that field, yeah, it was something to deal with on that field. And I was actually, the funny thing is, I was probably a better baseball player than anything else. And that's a long story I'll have to tell you guys one day. I should have kept playing baseball. That's one of my biggest regrets in life. And that's why, you know, you respect your parents for allowing you to make decisions. And I'll never forget, my father said, hey, that decision is yours. And I made the wrong decision for what I thought was a valid reason at the time. But anyway, I'll tell y'all that story one day. But anyway, man, let me go ahead and get out of here. Wonderful day. Had a great show tonight, man. I appreciate y'all coming through. Such a large crowd, man. I love y'all. I really do, man. Special to have a sizable crowd come check me out tonight, man. But again, before you guys leave, I'm going to remind you to do this here. If you like the video, make sure you hit that like button. But not only hitting the like button, subscribe to the channel. And then outside of that, man, make sure you turn on the notification bell so that way you know I'm streaming or a video has been uploaded, which it might be quite a few of those uploads popping up here and there during this time period. So keep your eyes open for that. But outside of that, y'all know the routine. Make sure you stay safe, stay healthy. God bless. Good night. And like always, I absolutely thank you all for tuning in to Terrible Towel Tuesday. And I shall catch you in the next one. Peace.